We got more fallout from Devon Mitchell being kicked off the Oklahoma Sooner football team. And as we lead into the Crimson Combine this weekend, who else might be entering that spring transfer portal right now on Big Monday? Rise and Shine College Football. Good morning, and welcome back to Rise and Shine College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. He's Big Cuz, Marcus Dent, and Big Mike Boganowski Sr. If you love college football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell if you love watching Big Bo dance on Hall of Fame College Football. What's up, gentlemen?
Man, what it do?
What it do? Too funny, man. It was watching Big Bo get down there in the pre.
Yeah, that intro was slapping.
Man. Hey, working out of here, man. Just working on it here. Welcome into the show, everybody. Hey, Bishop Frank, Logan Litke. Who we got? Drew, Seatbelt Mafia. What's up there, DTP? Oklahoma ganja grower, our guy. And hey, make sure everybody hits that like button on your way in. Wipe them feet. So make sure that it gets out to everybody else. Gentlemen, good morning. Talk a little bit about this. We talked a little bit about this on Friday. That we're having a little issues with wondering about what's going to go on in that tight end room. Well, here's what's going on. Players decided to rid themselves of a teammate they didn't feel like was really bringing it. So what were your thoughts on that, I guess? Either one of you kind of pop in there and let me know what you think. I obviously talking about Devon Mitchell, who's no longer with the program.
I just think it's unfortunate, man. I know the kid had a lot of talent,
Yeah.
His situation, just didn't work out. I wish him the best, but like I said, this one is a part of life. It's not just a part of football. So if you can't do those things, here, it's you got a tough life going on. That's for sure. So, but he's still young. He could bounce back. From what I understand, he had a lot of chances here. Last year at the end of the season, he made some kind of statement. Reason why he wasn't on the field wasn't the coaches. So
somehow that was big on Twitter is no longer there this morning. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah. So
I understand that.
Pretty wild, man. Big Bog, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, I feel like it was inevitable. I just, I don't know, man. Maybe him reclassifying, coming out a year early. Maybe he wasn't,
Yeah, I think that's clearly a problem. Right?
Maybe he wasn't ready. I don't know, man. But it just sounds like he never bought in, and maybe I don't know, man. I mean, it just sounds like it's what I heard is what he just kind of sounded like he was self-sabotaging himself, man. Like, I just, I don't know if anybody could have helped him right now. Maybe this is what he needs to get his head screwed back on right and locked down and, realize that, sounds like you ain't going to get too many more chances. No.
Well, when you've had as many chances as it sounds like they've given him, I mean, it's Kimberly Kay said Friday night when we talked on Coach Rich's shows, the guy wasn't even showing up in the right workout gear. You know what I mean? When he did show up, and then when you're not showing up at all for these things, I mean, you're even living with a parent in your place and stuff and not showing up still, overweight, at like from what we understand, he was pushing 300 pounds at this point. I mean, come on, man. You got to get your ass to work. And at some point, it's all about you and what you do.
Yeah.
I know there's been a lot of, how Twitter is. They're going to put it off on this and put it off on that. And the ones, the boo birds, the ones that want to get rid, that want to see Coach Venables fail. They're sick of Joe John. And it's easy to go there and start picking and blaming at those dudes. But in the end, at some point, you have to be responsible enough to yourself and to your teammates to kind of make that move yourself. Wouldn't you believe?
Oh yeah, definitely. You everything that you said is right on, man. It comes to a time and a point where you just got to say, hey, look, I got to be on a young adult. And I know he's what, 18, but yet and still people go to war at 18.
Yeah.
So the thing about it is your mind, we could put it off on being young, but you got to have that mindset to say, I want this. And a parent can't want it for you more than you want it for yourself.
True. I think
So
that you have to, as a parent, I mean, I've always felt that as a parent, you have to, they don't have to listen to you at this point. I mean, we know that they don't have to listen to you at this point. They can do what they want. But if you've taught them and been the right kind of, if you've been the right kind of parent in their life and influence over them over all this time, they're going to listen to what you have to say. And if you're saying the right things, you know what I mean? To me, it doesn't sound like it's something it doesn't sound like it was much more than like enabling to me. That's just my opinion. I could be completely wrong, but it sounds like, you similar to a lot of these kids that we see in the portal, out of the portal all the time, from season to season or whatever, where you just see them on a different program all the time. It feels like this is another one of those situations where he wasn't getting very good advice from the people he was listening to.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
I don't know. There's a whole bunch of stuff, especially when you get to college, man.
Yeah.
Maybe you mixing up with the wrong crowd. Maybe not, locking in with your teammates, and you got some other outside influences. There's a whole litany of things that could go wrong for you when you get to college. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Distractions. I call them distractions, right? And and I think we all know what that is. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of distractions.
It's getting warm. It's warming up.
Sundresses, some sundresses.
A lot of distractions.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we all been through that in college.
For sure.
Distractions.
Man, what? Shoot, man.
He lived with Kimberly K says he lived with Joe John for a bit too. I heard that on a pod yesterday. That's a bit much. Oh, you're out here babysitting, trying to help these boys. Yeah. Wow. Welcome into the show, Kimberly K, TP, Bob, T Boomer, Stephen G. Thank you guys for coming in. Appreciate it. Let me know what you know about the Boomer backfield pod. I don't know. I don't think I've heard of it. No, I haven't heard of that one yet.
New one.
TP says, I'm disappointed that he's gone. I feel like our program under BV is designed to bring out the very best in young.
Let me tell you something though. Where one door closes, another door opens. And we talked about it last week about a kid that just jumped in the portal.
Correct. From
Kansas, went to Iowa.
Gavin Hoffman.
Yep. And, hopefully, that kid had some real talent. I'd like to know what happened at Iowa and why he chose to jump in the portal. But coming out of high school, man, he looked good.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from what we understand, I mean, look, I heard a little bit about that a little bit last week, that he was in the portal. And look, we talked about this a bunch already, that, when you have a guy like Jim Nagy out there, he's got some connections all around the country. Where would you go first for tight end help if you're if you're a general manager, chances are could be Iowa. If he wasn't necessarily the number one guy out there in the as far as on the depth chart with the Hawkeyes, that's understandable whenever they're as good as they are coming out of there pretty much. So maybe it was a situation where he was ready to kind of assume a new mantle. Maybe he wasn't gonna. I don't know what it is either. I couldn't tell you why he's in, but and I don't know that that's necessarily who it is. But I am hearing that there's been some talk prior to this, prior to us finding out about this on Friday, that there could be some movement as far as that's concerned after once that spring portal gets opened up. I think it starts up next week, I think, or something like that.
It does, but think about this too, guys. Now we both know how much Arbuckle used the tight end when he was at Washington. A little bit, not a whole lot. You got Canick, you got the new guy, you got Hams, and I think one more. I think they still got 4 in the room, do they not?
Oh, they got hella tight ends, bro.
Well, look. So check this out. This is what I'm thinking. You just lost probably the a big pay with him coming out of high school, being a 5-star or 4-star. So as a general manager, do you go get another tight end, or do you use that money to sprinkle around somewhere else to get another need? I mean, you you I heard it was over 400. So I'm just
Yeah,
saying. I'm just saying if it was, I don't know the exact number,
I
but
haven't heard the exact number.
I feel
Well,
like
I have
that was.
heard numbers, but I've heard it's over
I
four.
can't imagine him making that on this next contract. He didn't do nothing last year.
well, no, that's what I'm
But
saying.
that money, I feel like that money, that year, that 400 that he got to come to Oklahoma, that doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
Whatever the number was, I can't imagine it being higher than that because
Well,
No,
but
I'm not saying it was high.
whatever it was, though,
It was still a
it
yeah,
good.
you got to reallocate it.
we're talking about 400,000 from last year. So that means that if it was half of that, that still means you still get all 400 for this time around, right? I mean, it's because now you don't have to pay it.
No, his new he already had his second year.
Yeah,
His second year contract has already been done, and that's what we don't know what it is. But like I was saying, like it can't be more than 4. It can't be more.
No,
Like,
no, I'm not saying it's more than
yeah,
that. Oh, no,
yeah.
no, I'm not. Yeah, no,
I'm talking about this year. So the money that we're recouping by not having to pay him since he went in the portal is probably half. I would probably say half of what he made last year.
Sure.
Yeah. But
okay.
saying that though, Bo, if you're a general manager and you got, hey, look, I might need to try to keep this kid, or I might need to do that,
Well,
or I might do that. I mean, it's still a little bit of money that you
so
can.
that money's already. So it like I would probably if I put my GM hat on, right, like that money is already like getting that back. Like that's a little bit of house money, right? And I slow play it, right? I slow play it for the spring portal. Maybe that extra 200,000 is the kick, maybe to get a kid to come to us, or not come to us, or maybe you got a kid that's just balling in spring ball and maybe outplayed in spring ball his contract that you signed at the end of last year, beginning of this year. Maybe you give it to him and say, here's your little incentive. You know what I'm saying? Like the name you keep hearing, and I've been trying to tell y'all about my man and stop sleeping on him, is Jaden Hardy. The kid is making the most of his time right now at that strong safety spot in spring practice. He's balling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe a kid like that. Maybe a kid, maybe the Carson Kent kid, the tight end, he looks good. Maybe the Will Huggins kid, he looks good. Maybe it's a O lineman, maybe it's EPL. You give him a little bump, or maybe you disperse it over 3 or 4 guys. There's a lot of options.
Yeah, coach is saying not another tight end. You guys have more than you need for Arbuckle.
Yeah, I feel like
that's what I was saying.
I feel like we got yeah.
That's something I said before. I said this on Wednesday and Friday, and I definitely said this after I found out about what's going on with obviously with him, but I went back and I kind of looked at it at Washington State last year. They had over 3,000 passing yards, 260 receptions, and out of all of that, all those tight ends that they had at the school, they had a total of 5 touchdowns. They had I believe it was like a little over 21 receptions total, 5 touchdowns, 300 yards. So we're talking about like 7.5%, 8% of the receiving yardage, and about 21% or 15% of the touchdowns that they had passing throughout the year went to tight ends. I don't know that all of that really makes a big deal in this when you have the kind of guys at the receiver position. When you got a guy like Kanik, who, to me, I'm kind of with what Neilio was saying the other day. If you go back and look at Jaron Kanik's film, all of it from high school was 50-plus yard touchdown runs. And I understand it's high school. I get it. But I'll just look at it this way. You start paying attention to what he did. All you got to do is just show that he is and I think he's a mismatch. I think he's going to be a mismatch for a lot of people. I think he's certainly a mismatch for a linebacker going the other way. We're talking about a guy that ran in the 4.3s. 4.3 type of guy. He's at 230, strong as all hell. He's a stud athlete. I don't know that you really need to make a big move at tight end either. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I would just tell you that, hey, go out there and do what you got to do. But don't make a big deal about this, about one guy, and it certainly doesn't go off on, the people that are going to go ahead and start trying to blame Coach Venables or Joe John or anything else. I don't want to hear that shit.
I don't think nobody can, after everybody knowing what they know, I don't think nobody can blame neither one of them for his actions.
They gave him a bunch of chances, man. They gave him a bunch of chances.
So no, bro. This one's on you.
Yeah. Listen, and here's the other thing of it. And I'll kind of go and I'll push this back to you on that one. From everything I understand, player leadership made this choice. I think it was in the hands of player leadership. To me, that signals that if that's the case, and I believe that it is, from what I've heard from the sources that I have around there, that is the case. If it is, that tells me that they know enough about this team and they believe enough in this team that they don't want any guys that are not there to go push towards those goals and aren't going to be conducive for you pushing towards those goals if they remain in the fold. That's a grown-up way to go about it, because if you look at what this guy is supposed to be, most of the time you would think, no, we got to keep a guy like that around. They didn't. That's not the case here. I think player-led teams that, generally speaking, means that you're coming along and it's a good thing. What do you guys think about that?
I'm gonna let you go, Bo.
Man, listen. It's a cliche, man. You know what I mean? And next man up. Like it's about all I really can say about it. Like, that dude, sounds like he tricked off his opportunity, and maybe by the amount of people that they brought in tight end wise in the portal, they kind of knew it was headed that way, because everybody was like, damn, we done took 3. You got the kid you got the big dude from Pitt State, you got Carson Kent, and you got the other cat from Louisiana Tech. And I mean, maybe they saw it coming, man, and maybe that was like, we're gonna give him one more shot. Who knows, man? But I mean, I don't know.
Do you feel like it's a big deal? It's good for the player-led part of it. For that, they're saying that they didn't want him a part of this program anymore.
I'm not going to put it all on the players, dude.
Excuse me. No.
Because listen, man, I feel like it's Nagy. You know what I mean? I feel like it's mostly Nagy. I feel like they might have pulled the players. You know what I mean? They might have pulled them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But listen, man, like this talking about this stuff, it makes me like I cannot stop thinking about like the chain of command or the hierarchy in the organization. You know what I mean? Like I want to know how it goes. You know what I mean? Like how like is it, athletic director, Nagy, Coach Venables, you know what I'm saying? Like that, or is it athletic director, Coach Venables, Nagy? You know what I mean? Like when it comes to like these type of decisions, right? Roster, adding, subtracting players, like I can't stop thinking about it, man. Like I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people about it. And I wish Oklahoma would just like put it out there like an org chart. Just let me see it, man. I got to see it. It's driving me nuts.
You won't see it.
I know I won't see it. And that's why it's driving me nuts.
You got a better
Yeah.
chance of knowing that shit than anybody, though. So you know what I mean? I don't know.
Man,
I don't think they are going to come. But from what I understand, and I mean, I heard this from somebody that I believe he's in a lot closer to the people that are making decisions around there than we are. As far as like how that goes and all that kind of stuff, and here's those things. To me, I would tell you that it sounds like to me they at least the players had some level of say in this. Of hey, yeah, it's time for him to go.
yeah,
And
I didn't like I say, Isaiah told me, that he was off the team, but he didn't tell me anything about, that they voted or anything like that. So um I know he didn't say that. So I don't know how that
I
happened.
just I just talked to his dad the Saturday I was down there.
For real.
Yeah, I was just talking to his dad, and everything seemed to be on the up. But
Yeah. Well, thing about it is sometimes, you know, it's not like when they're in high school, they're out there doing X, Y, and Z, and they're gonna get a parent slip sent home. It's not that, So now, don't get me wrong. This staff will communicate with you, um, but it's not like one of them things. Well, I had to call little Johnny in the principal's office today because he didn't do this, he didn't do that, and I heard a couple people in the comments. Somebody's only 17, he's 18 now, and
hold up,
regardless.
hold up. Did I just hear you say you heard some people in the comments?
Once somebody just said, "Come on, he's 17 years old." You know, I mean, whatever the situation is, you know what I'm talking about.
I was
But
just
no, it's cool. But I'm just saying, man, that's but him being 17 and he's 18 now. Isaiah just turned 19. He was
Mhm,
17 when he got there. You
mhm.
know, so come on. I mean, it is what it is. You have to take responsibility sometimes.
yeah, and I mean that's the whole point of it all to me. I think in the end, responsibility is the key. And if the players themselves were not okay with what was going on, and whether or not that was the entirety of it, I don't know. It doesn't even really matter. I think that in the end, whatever was going on here, there was an issue within the locker room that they felt like it was better to have. It was more addition by subtraction when it all boils down to it.
Yeah, he's not gonna let that. BV is not gonna let that locker room be messed up like that. He's not gonna do that. That's one of his things. So if it was getting, I mean, you think about it. If you let one person get away with not doing things over and over and over again, eventually somebody else is gonna try it because somebody already on that edge right now. You
Yep.
Mhm.
know, I mean, somebody's
Somebody
always
got to be
walking
made
that
an
line.
example of. Somebody's got to
Right,
be made an example of.
right.
Correct. Yeah.
What was the BJ? He left last year, but he had a few problems with missing things and stuff like that. I don't think he was bad as Mitchell,
Right.
but
Oh, we're talking about that's
Brooks,
Brooks, Eugene
yeah,
Brooks.
yeah, he had he would be late for a few things and everything, and I think Big Mike hit it on the head. When you're not doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, your money's gonna fall. And I know Brooks was in that situation. That's the reason why he left. he didn't really want to leave Oklahoma. But when you ain't when your money is being
Comes
cut
down
because
to a money thing. Well,
yeah, when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you're gonna lose dollars.
that's the other thing that listen,
You know,
as much as anything, we've talked about that part of it. We're going to a quote pro model. Well, the pro model says either either you're contributing or we're not contributing to your pocket.
right?
It's not that hard. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. So to me, in the end, I know that, whether or not we think that it's whatever the reasoning behind it was, and you look at it in a certain way because of the fact that he was a 5-star, if he stayed in his original class, you can't really say that it's a big loss whenever he hasn't been on the field one time. He hasn't played a single snap.
Mm-hmm.
Not a single snap. So is it and when it comes down to it, just like you said, if you believe that it's a Nagy thing, he's looking at him going like, what the fuck are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
He's come in to work the roster, and then there you go. And so he's looking at where can we get better, and where can we, if it is, yeah, Ganja Gross says one rotten apple can spoil the basket. That's true. And I don't want to go so far as to say that he's completely rotten. I wish the kid well.
Yeah, me too.
And I wish he would have done well here at Oklahoma, because I think that we've not seen what we're used to seeing at OU from that position in a while now. And I will go ahead and reiterate what I said a minute ago and what Coach was saying in there. I don't know that it matters when it comes to that you have some 4 or 5-star high-end tight end in this offense.
Don't think you need it. I think you need a good stable guy. I think you got 3 different type tight ends that they can use 3 different ways.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he planned on doing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, it could have been the GM say, you know what, this is dead weight. Let's cut dead weight. I mean, it could have been. I mean, if you're a GM, that's your job.
Sure.
And so, like
Well, I would hope that whatever's going on,
yeah,
and I don't know what it is. I'm
yeah,
hoping that they figure it out. But you got to show up. The one thing I know is you got to show up. You got to be there. Even whatever the problem may have been, if you're not showing up to practice, you're not being
productive.
Well, not even that, but you're not even respecting your teammates to the
Mm-hmm.
point that that you're going to go in there and they can trust that you're going to be there in the fight with them when the chips are down. You need to do that. So whatever it is, I mean, I like I said, I wish the kid well moving forward. I would think that at some point he's going to he should catch on. The talent level is definitely there. We've seen it. We haven't seen it here, but we've seen that he's definitely been talented throughout his high school career, and so the hope is that it gets better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, he reminds me of uh the tight end that came to Ole Miss with Jackson Dart. His name was Michael Triggs. Michael Triggs was a hell of a talent, man. Matter of fact, his little brother was a 5-star playing linebacker at Georgia right now, the Williams kid. But he ended up finding a home at Baylor. Got didn't work out at Ole Miss, and so he was one of those kids that a few things was going on, discipline wise, and I think he had like 390 yards reception last year, 5 TDs. So same type kid, man. He can find a home. Definitely can find a home. Somebody's gonna take a chance on him. I just
Yeah.
say to him and his family, hey man, you get a second chance wherever you go, take the best of it. Make the best of it. So and that's all I can pretty much say to him, man. Because the thing about me and we know in this game that this roster gonna go up and down. Let's take my senior year at Alcorn. I came in with like 18, 19 guys my senior year, it wasn't but 6 of us left. No, it wasn't that many. It was 4 of us left.
Mhm.
So I mean that happens in classes, and nowadays it's probably even worse with the way the transfer portal is. You can leave, you can do this.
Right.
Back then you had to set out a year if you went somewhere, or you had to go down to D2, and then you could play if you went down to D2. But like I said, a lot of things gonna change. That ain't the only room that it's gonna change in. It's gonna
No, and that's
be a
a
couple other rooms too.
I'm glad you said that because what I'm understanding is, and I'm not positive about who it may be, but the next place that I'm hearing that you're going to see some shakeup in is in that running back room. I don't think that that should surprise anybody as far as that's concerned. Who it may be, if it is this person, may surprise a lot of people. But it sounds like to me that running back room is going to get lighter as the next couple of weeks kind of unfold as well. I would
Yeah.
say that that's probably the next thing. What are your thoughts there? I mean, for everything we're hearing, Tory Blaylock is the real deal. He came in at 200 pounds. I don't know that anybody was expecting that right away. But from what I understand, you may be seeing, uh, somebody that we expected to probably be a big contributor here in the next couple of weeks, moving into the portal as well.
Yeah. Well, my take on that is, this day in college football, man, you're not gonna keep 3, 4, 5 guys that can be potential starters. It's just not gonna happen. You
Yeah.
know, and that just
Right.
that's one of those things, man. Some program is gonna either they're gonna leave for two things: to either make more money or to get more playing
Get
time. And
more
I
playing
think
time. Correct.
I think these guys will probably be more playing time type of deal.
Yeah, I think playing time is at a premium when you look at this running back room. So it's um, I guess my expectations would it was probably going to be one of the older guys saying like Javante or maybe Gavin Sawchuk, but that's not what I'm hearing. So
Here's
it's
here's the thing. Let me ask you this: You got how many running backs do you have in that room? About 6.
at least yeah, we're talking
And
Javante, Gavin, Sam. Then you got the three young guys and then Sawchuk's other little brother, right? Isn't he here too?
yeah,
Yeah, so and then you've got Tatum, Blaylock, and X Rob. So
ooh, that's
you know
a
what I mean?
lot of guys, man.
That's
And
7 dudes. That's
yeah,
7. So
and then like Oklahoma, do you consider Oklahoma being a two back system?
I think you would hope. I think most systems are two-back systems at this point, just in this
Yeah.
age of college football. Oklahoma's always had a second guy that would, even with Adrian Peterson, they had some good running backs that were there with him.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I think it's a two-back system. When you look at Mixon and P. Ryan, they were the best 1-2 punch in the country without a doubt at that
Hmm.
time. You know.
Hmm.
So yeah, I do think it's a two-back system. I think there's always a an opportunity for another one. Yeah, I mean, well, whether he's a PW or whatever he is, he's still in the room, is what I was getting at, and that's not who I'm talking about. So,
But but but
um,
but but here's the deal. Let's just say this right here. You one of these guys leave. Let's just say he's a money guy. Well, guess what? Your running back room is already super filled, so you don't have to go out and get a running back. That's now you're saving a little bit more money, you know. So maybe some of these things, looking at it from high up, yeah, how that deal is, and that's one thing about business, um, that is business, you know. I
yeah,
mean, and that's the thing about it is if a general manager is there to maximize the money and save money. So if that case right there, if you see, if I don't know who it is, but if somebody else do leave, and they of the proportion of good money, then it helps your situation even more.
yeah.
You know, financial wise. What you think about that, Bo?
I think somebody's going to go. There's just too many bodies. not enough carries.
Right.
I mean, to be honest with you, I feel like I thought one would have left in the December portal. I thought we'd have had more, but who's the ones that left? Chapman, McCown.
Oh yeah, Chapman McCown. I forgot about him. That's 8.
No, he left. He transferred.
Oh, he did leave. He did leave. That's right. That's right.
But there was, I feel like there was one other one that left.
It was. I can't think of his name. Yeah, but it was another one that left. I can't. What was that kid's name?
Yeah. So it was McCown and.
It's not Franklin either, fellas. I'm not talking about the upper class. I'm going to tell you, I've heard that it's going to be Taylor Tatum now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows, man?
I hope that that's not the case because I'm a Tatum guy. I think he's going to be something else at some point. And I know he had fumbleitis or whatever last year, but
Megwa, that's what it was. Emeka Megwa. Yeah.
Megwa was the other guy that left. That's right. Thank you, Drew. Appreciate it. Hey, Coach, we'll see you soon.
And Hicks. It was 3. It was 3.
Hicks is who I was
in Stillwater.
It was Hicks. Yeah, that's who I was thinking about.
Yeah, Hicks is up the road in Stillwater. Stillwater. Stillwater, whatever. Yeah. But I'm hearing that it's going to be Tatum. So
I mean, is the baseball thing still like, is that?
I heard he was banged up though. Anyway, something was going on where he was banged up. I don't think he's playing a lot on the baseball side of it either. And I'm not sure kind of where they've been as far as how they feel about him playing baseball at this point, especially if you're starting to have some issues as far as maybe I don't know if he's injured or whatever, and if he's not being able to play both. I would guess that if he's a little nicked up, they're probably a little concerned about that. Wouldn't you think? It's like, we'd rather have you here than have you out on the diamond or whatever. And I don't know what the injury system is or the injury situation is with him. I haven't heard that it's anything super serious, but it sounds like it just, hey man, it could be, for all I know, it could be something to do with Blaylock being ready to rock and roll and at 200 pounds and being impressive in practices. Some of these guys, I mean, the reason Caden Durham didn't come was because of Taylor Tatum, and one of them was only going to be one of them come in. And I know that Caden Durham was friends with Stoney and all those guys, and they were all part of that group of kids that was expecting to be all coming in the 24K class. So, obviously it kind of is the injury system. Yeah. Shut up, Ryman. Yeah. I've seen him suited a couple times, not much. Hicks, Franklin, Tatum, and one Sawchuk or Barnes because it's getting late for those guys and it's hard to be seen. Goated, I don't understand what you're saying. I mean, you can say what I'm not even gonna put that up on the screen because I don't see that as why is that DeMarco's fault? What do you mean? He got carries and he kept fumbling the ball last year. I mean, that's what we're talking about. In the end, there's a lot of dudes that are in this, and like I said, I mean, this is what I heard from somebody I trust, and maybe it's wrong, but I mean, we could sit here and speculate about the entire class, the entire room, because of the fact that, hey, there's only so many footballs.
Only so many carries. That's for sure.
There's only so many footballs, only so many carries, and some of these guys, I mean, it is what it is. I'm surprised that to me, here's the thing. Do I understand what you're saying? If you're talking about DeMarco playing too much of, that you're seeing too much Javonte Barnes, okay. But at the last time we saw Javonte before he got hurt last year, he was definitely leading the way in that room. Again, the one thing about that is, the best ability, availability. So, that's the concern that I would have there. I don't think that, but we also saw Tatum get ringed up in in the Tennessee game. And so, you know, I don't know, man. I think that they're looking for their right little. I think that they're looking for their right mix there. And we know one thing is that DeMarco can recruit his ass off. He recruits his ass off. So, you know, you can say what you want, but, you know, I know a lot of people are hoping that things kind of change things around. But, yeah.
The running back room is one of those rooms that just, you know, it overflows,
Right.
you know, right now. And that's, you know, man, that's unfortunate, you know, if it is him because I like him, man. His jump cut
So do I.
is ridiculous. So hoping that's not the case, man.
He's definitely one of the guys that you look at and you're like, man, that dude he could be an explosive back. But again, and I get it. He's a true freshman. We saw the potential. We all did. I get it. And we've seen DeMarco questionable running back room decisions is what you're getting at. I understand what you're talking about. But listen, to sit here and act like I'm not going to sit here and act like I would do a better job than what DeMarco Murray's doing as a running backs coach. I'm not going to sit here and act like I know more than DeMarco Murray does about that running back room. In the end, have I always agreed with what he's doing? No, I haven't. Do I think that there's a chance you might end up seeing him not really there for a whole lot longer? No. But if we just talked about the tight end room and why you might have seen a subtraction on Devon Mitchell, it could be kind of the same type of thing is, all right, we got a full ass room here. You just saw what happened with not getting Jones. You saw and not getting the kid that what's his name that was going to that ended up going to A&M. It just makes sense that there's going to be more subtraction there. Because again, we are in the professional game at this point. They're going to have a salary cap. Matter of fact, I think that they're going to ratify that House versus NCAA today.
Today's the first day you can hear anything about it.
Yeah. So
yeah, man, that's crazy. It's crazy times, man. You have to make decisions, you know, in those rooms, man, and you know, it's like I say, it's nothing personal. It's just business, you know. The thing about it is, you know, with him, if that's the case, he's young enough to find another home quick. I mean, that won't be a problem, him finding another home. But how does the baseball and so if a person like him decide, okay, I'm gonna leave, it can't be good on both sides. You know, it seemed like, okay, well, if baseball's going really good, I'm gonna stay. You know, so it must be some shaky stuff on both sides. If that's the case, don't know if it's him. But man, I really like him a lot, man. I got a chance to sit beside his mom and talk to her. I think I met his dad one time, man. Man, I'm talking
they're
about
cool ass people,
he's
man.
a super talent, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a super talent, bro.
He's a talent, man, for sure. And I don't know what you're talking about, Dwayne, at all. Emmett Jones is one of the best coaches on that staff, without a doubt. I don't even know what the hell you're talking about. And he's recruited. You know who's the only wide receiver coach in the country that's out recruited Emmett Jones? He's at Ohio State. That's it. I don't know what the hell you're even talking about. One season does not change the fact that dude has done his job. Period. Yeah. You're talking crazy talk. Not in here. Not here, man. We crazy. We I don't mind you. I don't mind us, you know, critiquing what we see and things like that. But I mean, you're gonna have to find a better coach to pick on than Emmett. You're gonna have to find a better coach to pick on than Emmett. The change that you saw from the first year with Venables and Levy, where they were dropping balls and the only guy that was doing anything, you know, was you had one guy that was doing anything to year two, and what you saw was a big difference. Now, what we saw last year, you could try to blame that on Emmett if you want to, but if we're not going to put that, if we're not going to continue to pay attention to the fact that Seth Luttrell was a you know, dumpster fire of an offensive coordinator, you know, then that's pretty wild. So I don't know. I don't understand that.
Wow. Yeah.
Nothing personal, just business.
Just. Mm-hmm.
That's ridiculous, Noid. Not hearing it. Not hearing it.
What is he saying?
Full of shit. Talk about Emmett hadn't done as good a job as at TCU. He was at Kansas and Tech before he got here. Kansas and Tech. He wasn't at TCU before he got here. What are we talking about? Make sure you know what you talk about before you bring it here. Come on, man. Oh, all right.
I'm surprised you didn't get. He didn't get a. What's that little thing you do?
Shut up, big dumbass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, you should have gave him
Here's
one of
another
those.
one.
Right
Here's a new one.
Some people are really fucking stupid.
George Kearney.
Yeah. I mean, at least figure it
that was
out,
my
guys.
dude, man. George was my guy, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's crazy.
It's okay to have your point of view. He wasn't at TCU though, and it's cool. But what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Because we know that we had Washington was there the first year. Really, you had guys that weren't running the right routes. And I don't think that he was prepared to be in that position at that point, right? He just wasn't prepared to be in that position. And the guys, you saw it, they kind of underperformed in the room, aside from Marvin Mims. When you saw Emmett come in, immediately you saw a bunch of dudes that got really good. That's all. Emmett's
the guy, bro.
Yeah, dude. And he's out recruited the rest of the country aside from one guy. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. English, what? I don't know where y'all are at. I blame EJ for.
He's talking to the English. He's responding to the dude up there.
Oh, who is he? Oh, Sugoi?
Yeah, English 1.
English 1. I don't see what he said. What did he say?
He said, "Crazy OU fans with recency bias, LOL." And then Billion responded, "English 1, chew on these nuts." You got to type Billion when you say something like that. You got to type it like it sounds. Like you got to accentuate the nuts. Chew on these nuts.
Hey man, I think that it's a little early for us to start knee jerk reacting to all these little moves and whether they are right.
Yeah,
your question.
That's just college football.
Eli, I didn't see it, but it could have. Where is it? What question did you ask? No, and you know what? There's filters that can filter certain things out, but I don't know. And sometimes it's weird what it'll filter out too. I was trying to just, throw an emoji at Rhyming Lemon last week, and it wouldn't let me do it. So I don't know.
Wow.
It was an eggplant emoji.
This one. It was that one.
Oh shit.
I don't know, man. We'll see. In the end, I mean, I hope I would hope it's incorrect, and I'm of the belief that I'd rather see the guys that have been here long enough.
That's a decent question, actually.
Yeah, is there enough talent on this Sooners squad to win in space at running back and wide receiver?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be realized, and they have to, prove it once they get on the field under the lights. What you're doing when you're in the springtime. I mean, it is spring. It's spring, guys. It's not an end all be all to what's going to happen in the fall. We know that. But I will say that I would tell you that I would disagree with that completely, Dwayne. You're talking Zion Kearney. Zion Kearney is one of the guys that flashed quite often, especially the longer the season went on. Zion was flashing, and he's been flashing already this spring as well. He's a second-year player. He was a true freshman. And again, I don't know what you I don't know what you would have wanted to see from someone right there.
But
So
saying the man hadn't been developed, that's
he's a true sophomore who was getting playing time as a true freshman, and was one of the guys that you saw make strides throughout the season.
yeah, man.
Drop that one ball in the bowl game. Is that what we're talking about? Come on. I love the way that we expect them to be perfect as freshmen.
They do it in the pros. You sit up here. Here's my deal with a true freshman coming in playing. I don't care what system it is.
Mhm.
Yeah, it happens, but you got to be a very, very special kid. And then a lot of times you protect freshmen, even though they're on the field. You still have to protect them because
Right.
there's no way to catch them up to everything in that little bit of time they get there, even if they come in January.
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
I've been saying already that I continue to believe that kid right there is one of the better receivers that you're going to see something from probably this year. I mean, both Zions for that matter. Zion Kearney too.
yeah, I was just finna say him, man. That's a kid that, man, he just catches every damn thing. I mean, shit, he don't drop much. I ain't seen him drop a pass, maybe one, but dude, he is sticky when it comes to the hand, and he's a big ass target. That's one thing any quarterback can tell you. To have a big target that you can see down the field when you can't see everybody else, man, that's a huge blessing to have as a quarterback. So yeah, man, I haven't heard much from him, but I think he's been nicked up a little bit. But man, he's gonna be that dude. He's been solid. That's a person that I thought, you could, if you're gonna move somebody to tight end, that's a person I thought they could have moved. You put the weight on him, being 6'6", 6'7". Come on, man.
Ivan Carry-On for sure. I think that they have expectations for him as well. Jaden Gibson.
I've never been a fan of that take. I don't know why.
Who?
I move and carry on a tight end.
Well, are you talking about to the Y position or to
tight end? What
Yeah.
tight end? Why? Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never been. I don't know, man. I just feel
I
like
think he's more of a receiver. I think he is a receiver. So yeah, I mean, but I also think that I'm just saying what I've seen in the film that I've watched. I haven't really seen.
Yeah, what in the world?
Fuck.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Whose moms are you talking about, bro?
I know.
Man.
On that, you didn't even know what it said, bro. You just
Yeah.
I'm like, what the hell?
Whose moms are you talking about, bro?
Jesus.
Easy.
Man, you get them damn hands for some shit like that.
Yeah. No, we've been talking about that a lot, Logan. But as far as I just want to see Carry On play a little more, and I think that you're probably going to see that. But he's that guy that
he's a possession receiver. You know what I mean? He's not going to catch
the ball.
He's not going to catch the ball, make a dude miss, and go 80 on you. You know what I mean? He's a possession receiver. He's a jump ball kid in the end zone. He's a red zone threat, man. Box him out, throw it up. Nobody can get. Even if a dude had a 20-inch vertical, man, these 5'8", 5'9", these dudes, they're not matching his reach and vert. You got to get. And we didn't do that once last year. Like the easiest answer in the red zone is throw a damn fade in the back of the, throw a jump ball to the kid, and we didn't do it one time, and that drove me absolutely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
All our
you said it a bunch, and I agree. We never saw the kid drop one.
No, I never seen him drop a pass.
That jump, he's sticky fingers, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's sticky fingers.
Yeah, he's a baller, man, no doubt. And I think for sure I would expect to see more of him. Again, I think that you need to have those big guys that can go and get those 50-50 balls in this league, without a doubt. And
Hmm.
that's why I think it'll be great if you get Jaden Gibson back. I don't know that he's necessarily ready to rock and roll game one. But if you get him back at a time like, I feel like you will see considerable amount of. I mean, I'm of the belief that you're going to see a considerable amount of development in that room this season. Because even if you have, whether you have injuries, don't have injuries, I mean, I think you're going to see somebody get dinged up. It's what happens. It's college football. It's
Hmm.
football, period. People get hurt. But this is a time that I feel like, if you could see it work out to where if Jaden doesn't start kind of playing until week 3, 4, 5, something like that, then he's ready down the stretch of the season, which is what you need. We talk about competitive depth all the time. I think there's a lot of guys in that room that could very well stand out. We've talked about, I mean, they're talking about right now, Giovanni Gibson, obviously, Sategna, and Dion Burks. Well, Dion Burks, we talked about him a lot this time last year, too. He's going to have to stay healthy. You know what I mean? But that's the good news about having a guy like Sategna in there. And then, of course, Zion, I think both Zions for that matter. But, when you look at Zion Reagans, he's a little guy that you can more see him in that slot being an explosive kind of guy, even though I think they've got him more like the X receiver in a lot of the what you're looking at, on the depth charts and stuff like that. I think you can move these guys around in different places. Again, I would say that I still am of that belief that if Jaren Kanak is really putting on a show out there like it sounds like he is, all you got to do is get a couple of big plays from him. Now, all of a sudden, the linebackers have a new problem to think about that they have to plan for.
Yeah, his highlight film from high school.
Son of a bitch. Yeah.
They're ridiculous, man.
Long touchdown after long touchdown after long touchdown, bro.
I was impressed.
Yeah.
I was impressed. He stiff armed the hell out you. I know that damn much. Put that arm out there on you, bro. But
Eli, I'm going to say one more time. I believe that what we're talking about is we're talking about an anomaly of a season on the offensive side of the football. I don't believe that his staff evals are bad. I think that they made a bad hire.
You're never going to be 100% on that. You know what I mean? You're never going to be 100%.
I'll say again that I also don't believe that was just completely his decision either. I know he likes to take responsibility for everything that goes on on his staff and in his program. I'm telling you, I don't believe that one. I don't. So I don't know. As far as Greg, yeah, how's Kanak doing the blocking? I don't care. I don't care. I think again, to me, I think you're probably going to do pretty well at like run blocking. I think that it's tough to teach guys that have played tight end forever to be a pass blocker, especially in the way that they run things. If they're doing any kind of RPO system or anything like that, there's a lot to that shit. I think that I wouldn't expect Kanak to come in and be the best blocker I've ever seen at tight end. I just wouldn't.
well, you got I was a blocking tight end when I played. That was my specialty. And and the other guy, Tracy Cook, he was more of a receiver type. You understand what I'm saying? So I mean, they start blitzing the hell out of us. I come in the ball game. We get 30 yards in. I will come in the ball game. Because we short field. You had brung the tight ends in. Sometimes we even went double. I don't know if they mean double tight. I don't think they'll do that here, but I'm just saying. I
You
think
might
you
think
got
again. I saw the
you know,
dude in the jumbo package quite a bit last year because
yeah. I'm just saying I don't know how much they'll do it here. They probably will do it some, but I'm just saying, man, you got two or three different type of guys in that tight end room that can do different things for you. That's what I like about it. Yeah, I do. Especially like I say, you got Kanik, you got was Huggins, the one that caught number 81, caught that pass that's, I guess from Hawk.
Want that Huggins or
Yeah,
Huggins?
yeah. Then you still got Caden Helms, and then I think you got another guy. So I think you got enough in that room, bro, for sure.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with it. I mean, I think that in the end, I think just the fact that you have Kevin Wilson in the program helping with that, it sounds like he's helping a lot with the linemen as well. Is my camera not on?
No, it's not on.
Shit. Okay.
You said-
But I would just say that, this is to me, if you go back and I would implore for those of you Oklahoma fans that haven't gone back and looked at Washington State's games, they're all over you can watch them. You can go watch them and see what kind of stuff they do. And they do a lot of stuff, but they weren't tight end heavy, I should say. They weren't tight end heavy, man. They accounted for 7.5% of the receptions that happened all year, and they were over 3,000 yards. I wouldn't expect for us to, turn into. I just wouldn't expect for us to turn into a big tight end offense this year. I just wouldn't.
Yeah, me neither. I don't see it happening. I think we're gonna be tricky. That's for sure.
Right, and I mean, if you subscribe to the theory that a lot of people are subscribing to about that Arbuckle is very similar to Lincoln in his play style, and I don't know how that I would say they're completely the same, but they're similar. Then he was more of an H-back type of guy than he was a tight end type of guy.
I agree with that.
So in H-backs, you think of Dimitri Flowers, who's, he's finding a little crease up there, after the plays started developing, and, all of a sudden he pops out of the backfield, and the next thing he's got a 35-yard catch. Him and Hall too. B Hall was the same. That's what they did.
But you take a guy like Shannon Sharp, Shannon Sharp's not that tall. I'd have been beside Shannon Sharp. He's 3 inches. I mean, he's six. They got him listed at 6'2", and he might be 6'2". But how big is Cannon? Like 6'3", maybe 6'4". How tall is Cannon?
No, he's not even that.
He might be
6 foot, 6'1".
He might be 6'2". He might be 6'2".
Okay, there you go. I mean, you not compared him saying he's a Shannon Sharp guy, but Shannon Sharp was just super athletic to be 230 pounds. And he was a hell of a mismatch for a damn tight end. I mean, excuse me, for a linebacker trying to cover a tight end. And I think you, Jason, I think you hit it on the head at the beginning of the show. With his speed up against a outside linebacker, a backer.
Yeah,
Man, come on.
Have fun with that.
Come on.
Have fun with that. I think that, not everybody has linebackers that can fly like that. I mean, you've got a few in the room that I would say probably can, as far as at Oklahoma, but I don't know any of the linebackers at OU that would want to have to guard him and have guy out of the backfield.
Not all night. He could be a problem.
He could be a problem. He's a mismatch waiting to happen, guys. He really is.
If I was a core, and the thing about it is, I don't know. The linebacker room is not one of the deepest rooms that we have, and for them to move him over to tight end, I think that was saying something. I think they were looking at what just happened with Mitchell, the possibility of that happening, and the possibility of we got a little, as you would call it, a little Swiss Army knife that could do a whole lot of things. And I could see why I could. And maybe he didn't do this stuff at Washington, but maybe this is something that he plans to do here. Maybe he's going to change it up a little bit. You never know. So I love the aspect of him playing tight end because he's that tight end that he's not that prototype.
But he's H-back. He's more H-back than he is tight end, for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Like I said, it's high school ain't the same thing, but I'm telling you, man, I don't think I've ever seen a film ever of a guy that had that many long touchdown runs. He's another one of those guys that if he gets an opening, he's going to break down. Angles are going to get destroyed.
Yeah, especially
It's
going
all a
down,
lot.
going down.
And he can run through dirt. He can run through trash. You know what I mean? So I like the idea. And again, I would just say one more time, there's a lot of dudes that within this offense that I think have the ability to be big play guys, and they only have so many footballs. You know what I mean? There's only so many guys that could get touches and things like that too. So, you know, in the end, I think that they're going to be fine. And I would just say this one more time. Guys, we don't have to have the best offense in the country. What we have to have is one of the top 30 offenses in the country for this team to really go.
Dude, I think I'm not trying to jinx us, but I think we'll be a little bit more than 30. You know,
That I'm just
we ought
saying
to be in
it
the
doesn't
top.
have to be
I think
perfect.
we'll be in the top 20.
Sure.
I think we could be in the top 20 for real.
I think you might be a top 10 offense if it all works out the way you want it to, but I don't think that you have to be, is the point I'm making.
Yeah. Well, neither does the talking heads on the on threes and the ESPNs. Is everything is catching up, man. It's like everybody's talking Oklahoma. And
Bro,
man, I'm like,
they need to keep last year's energy. Keep that.
yeah, that's exactly what I said,
bro.
man. You know, everybody's talking Oklahoma. It's not a show that's talking about college football that don't bring up Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about everything was negative, negative. You still got that percentage, your fine bombs and some, you know, that little Histler, because he's an undercover lover Alabama guy. So anyway, long story short, you know, everybody in the football community is like, man, you see what's coming out of that offensive camp. And you know, knowing Kevin Wilson is there and knowing, you know, everybody's kind of shaking up right now. They don't know what to think. But the real guys that know football, they trying to give you a sneak preview.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you a sneak. We don't want it. We don't
Hey,
we don't
hey,
freaking want it, man.
hey, cuz
Shit.
I need you to tell me who are the guys that know football and are giving us a sneak peek. I need you to put me on. Who are these
Well,
guys?
well, Josh Pate,
Okay.
you know, he's one. He's a guy that's kind of buying into what's going on. He slow sells it.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, I like, man. I'm gonna tell you something. I like him a lot. You know, number one, when I first started watching podcasts, man, I didn't even know who the guy was. I didn't know he was as big as he was. And man, I just hit him up and told him I like his podcast. Man, dude hit me right back. And
Try that again. Try it again now. See, he blew up.
well, no, this was just
You probably
no.
can't even say.
No,
You probably
I'm just
can't even
saying
say
I
it
didn't.
now.
I didn't know who he was. He was already big.
Yeah.
This was just a couple months ago.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, and he hit me right back, you know. And I was like, okay, cool. He so just so happened my business partner that works for 24/7, he know him. And that might have been one of the deals. He know me and him, you know,
I
done
mean,
some
what are
stuff
we doing?
together.
Why are you just telling us? Why didn't we put an invite out to him? Like, come on, bro. You got the end like that. We ain't even got him on the pod. Ain't even shut.
Hey, man, this ain't. Hey, look, I'm just a host, man, on the
You
show.
should be shooting this shot right here.
But anyway, long story short, man. I mean, he doesn't take deep dives. He just take little small dives. I think me and you talked about that, Jason, one time. He just take little deep dive. Little small dives. He's not gonna go way down like what's that jerk that is it Andy Staples? Is that his name? Is it Andy?
There's
He got
Andy Staples. What about him?
yeah. Now he's trying to talk. Look, you know, look at Oklahoma. He trashed us, man. I'm talking about this dude.
Hey, you want to know when it reaches like something's going on is when like Cowherd or somebody like that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean yeah.
I mean, like,
Yep.
but like, yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, like the only people I've seen really like try to do it is Pate and you know that on 3 dude JD. He's just
Oh,
you know, he's
somebody.
I'm
He's
not
like
even gonna say what I was gonna say, but dude, he is like,
he's drinking the Kool-Aid, man.
dude, so bad, so bad.
Hey, he's drinking the Kool-Aid because he wants to be the one that says this is going to happen. You
Yeah,
know, he wants to be that guy, and it all started with him. That was the first place I heard it. I don't know about you guys,
yeah.
but that was the first place I heard it with him. And then um, what's the little guy from Mississippi? Um, um, he was a writer at OU. What's his name? Um, Jason, little black guy with the beard. Podcast, number one college football show or something like that.
RJ,
RJ Young.
Yeah, that little joker.
Yeah, they don't. Most OU fans don't love RJ much anymore. There's some that do. There's some that do.
He still preaches. He still preaches OU,
Yeah,
but
but
you know how that
he.
is.
I would just tell you I know a lot of the people on this show that watch our show. They are among those OU fans that didn't love the way he left. And
listen, like, hey, like, put Billion's comment up there about on three right there, 33 seconds ago. Like, it's too late on three. Do all the shit that y'all been doing, taking our recruits, not giving them their proper rankings, writing the bullshit, tweeting the bullshit. Like, nah, we ain't having it, bro.
look
Yeah.
look at the way
Well,
they dropped Stoney right at the
we
end of
haven't
last year.
We
Yeah, it
haven't
was pretty dirty. It
we
was.
having it.
yeah, and that's what it is, man. You know, that's a great point right there, man. They trying to get that viewership up.
No, they got it.
Oh,
They
yeah.
got it. They got it when they was talking all that shit, and we'd have
Yeah.
moved on.
Mhm.
Says we'd have moved from on three.
Yeah,
RJ's from Tulsa, or lives in
you
Tulsa
even take them
still.
serious.
Right. RJ still lives in Tulsa, but he's not just but his family is all from Mississippi though.
Yep, from Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
That's a fact.
But man, it's crazy, you know, that you said that hey, look, we need to build that. OU's got a big fan base, and we don't have any of their guys. So guess what? We need to pump OU stuff so people can tune in. Yeah, you know, hey, so it might be a little clickbaiting right there going on.
That's all on three is the biggest clickbaitingest site like out there, dude. It's like I don't even retweet their shit no more. I don't give them no like likes, like no nothing, dude. I'm over those guys, dude. Them dudes are.
We're hearing Big Bogue's real feelings on 3 right now.
Oh yeah, dude.
It.
I mean, it is what it is, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Like just as a like the only like. Shout out to the dudes like the Oklahoma on three dudes right at the scoop, like
The
you know
scoop
those,
guys. The scoop.
yeah. But the rest on three, nah.
Right.
Shannon Terry, man, he started them all, bro.
He started them all. It's other than ESPN, Shannon Terry did start them all.
I don't give a damn.
And here's the deal, though, bro. You can look at it. I like I say, I've been around that situation for a long time. They live off viewership and membership. The
Of course.
more people, I guarantee you, the
Look,
on three side of Oklahoma probably went off the chart.
Hey,
You know, when
but
they
in my case, I stopped.
yeah.
sure.
Yeah. No, I'm just talking.
Well, there's two ways. There's two ways to get those clicks.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. You're either pissing them off and they're coming at you that way,
That's exactly right.
or you're talking good about them and they're clicking on your information there. And the thing that we've seen with
the third way, Jason, the third way is my way. Cease and desist on their ass.
Well, that doesn't help them. I'm talking about there's two
I
ways
know.
that
That's
they
the
go
point.
about it. That's what they're. I'm saying what they're doing.
Oh, yeah. But they got to look at that too, though. They got to look at
Yeah,
that
they
too.
do. Yeah, they got to look at the people who unsubscribe too. Yeah, they do. They got to look at that because I know from my partner Dave's side, they look at they know who unsubscribe. You know, and they'll try to get you back and all that kind of stuff. You know, but yeah, you're exactly right. They got to look at that. And I
Right.
think that might have been that might have been what happened, Mike. When you unsubscribe, they say, "Hold on, wait a minute, we gotta get this shit back rolling."
No,
Right.
I ain't unsubscribed from them. I ain't unsubscribed from them. I just don't like, retweet, or engage any of their stuff.
Well, what I'm saying is they probably did get that, and
Yeah.
they in their marketing team because guess what, guys, they have a marketing team. And their marketing team probably say, "Hey, look, this is what we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
We got a big Oklahoma fan base that we need to tap into. We need the Sunshine Pump. Find anything over there we need to do. Either whatever we need to do. We need to create something going on in Oklahoma, was it positive or negative. We need to get these people tuning in, and they got them. They tuning in. I
Mhm.
mean, they tuning in too, Jack. You know, because you hear him say, you Oklahoma fans, you know, if you're not a subscriber, go ahead on hit it. I mean, they say that up front.
Right.
So that's
Well,
just
I'm
shit
subscribed.
right
I'm
there.
the only quote insiders that I subscribe to is the Scoop guys.
Yeah.
I mean, y'all know what I think about the quote insiders. I mean, most of them are full of shit. So this is what it is.
But
I
yeah,
mean,
man, that is
they act like they're journalists, and they're not.
no, I ain't got nothing to say
Most of
on
them aren't. Most of them aren't. I'm just saying most of them aren't when it comes to the crew that we're talking about. But when it comes to the on three national guys, you've got some journalists there. I mean, I would say when you start talking about their national crew, JD Piquel, I think that JD kind of saw the error of his ways when he went and picked 6-6 last year. We talked about this the last couple of times we've talked. I don't have a problem with JD. And I think that his show has done okay. I think that what I would say about JD Piquel is he knows that, and he even said himself that, uh, hey, I kind of backed into that correct prediction of 6-6 last year because if it wasn't for the injuries, it wouldn't have been that way. So he could have thumped his chest and said, see, I told you. And he didn't do that. So, I don't have disrespect for JD. I think he's done a good job. I think that some of those guys I think that whoever it is that's doing their rankings and shit like that, which those aren't necessarily the dudes that are out there in front of the camera. I
yeah,
think that they take a lot of the heat for that. But I think that whoever's behind the rankings and stuff like that have been the ones that have really pissed Oklahoma fans off, and rightfully so. And I mean, I'm not mad at anybody for being mad at them because I think that they did take some unfair, cheap shots at OU. And I think that when it comes, everybody else has David Stone as the number one defensive tackle in the country, and they dropped him all the way to almost out of being a 5-star. It was a chicken shit move.
hmm
And so, and again, we've talked about that. A lot of the stuff that happens with those guys is because you said this before a bunch of times, and I agree with you, is that if you're talking to them and giving them stuff to write about that they can get more clicks and get their money up, then they're all good. But the second that you stop, catering to that certain writer or whatever, they don't mind bending you over, and
yeah.
it's not the way to go.
I remember being with two or three writers one time, and we was at a 7-on-7 tournament, and one of the guys saw this kid. He was like, "Hey, what you doing?" He was like, "Man, we got a game in 15 minutes." He said, "Look, after the game, kind of get an interview." He's like, "Oh yeah, I got you." And soon as that kid walked off, that guy said, "Man, hey, if I need a story, I can call him, and I get 300 likes." So I overheard that conversation. So yeah, they do they tend to the guys that bring them money, they help bring them money.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that stuff happens, man. But on three right now, I just think they're doing exactly what you said. They just trying to build a fan base. And JD, let me tell you what, he's kind of like that little annoying cousin. I mean, that's what he is to me. But I got to give him this. I think he went to an Ivy League school. He did play football. He said, "Hey, look, I
And
wouldn't have
we
been."
went on this. We did a little deep dive last week on him.
Yeah,
His
so
name
I mean,
says Baylor, but all his stats are from Cornell.
yeah, Cornell. Yeah, exactly. So I didn't know y'all did that, but
Oh yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he's a little Ivy League guy.
Receiver.
Yeah, a little Ivy League guy. So he knows football. They're being play. I got to give him a little bit more credit than some of these other guys. Some of these other guys ain't played it, ain't did shit, but they gonna tell you how to do shit, and that's crazy. You know. So yeah, I gotta give JD a little grace,
I
just a
don't,
little bit.
like I said,
You
I don't
know.
have a big problem with JD. I don't have a big problem with JD. I wasn't. I thought that it was a weak. I thought it was a weak take last year for sure. I thought it was a weak take,
And maybe it
but,
was because of the
but
unknown.
the fact that he, I mean, he didn't try to hide behind anything or say that. See, I was right. I mean, he flat out said, "Nah, I backed into that one." You know what I mean?
I didn't hear him say that, but that's
Yeah,
He did.
I heard him. Yeah.
He did.
yeah.
He did.
Wow. Yeah, he does. And see, and you know what? It's just like these other people. They might say, "Okay, man, JD is having a big success with talking about Oklahoma." And let me see, can I get a little bit of them cookies?
He took offense. You could tell it hurt his heart whenever he when he said that 6-6 last year, and he was taking arrows, bro. Taking arrows. From then on out, they were just skewering his ass online, and it bothered him. You could tell it bothered him. It hurt his heart. And so that's like I said, it would have been real easy for him to flip it around and be like, "Hey, I was right, y'all were wrong, and y'all are still giving me shit about it." But he didn't go that route. You know what I mean? He didn't go that route. So to me, I don't have necessarily a big problem with JD. I think that you can say stupid stuff. Hell, we all do. I do once a show at least.
Yeah, and like I said, man, he's he's been leading the charge, and like I said, Josh Pate within the last 2.5, 3 weeks, he's kind of jumped on the train, and
He
then
just dropped he just dropped another interview with Florida State head coach Norvell. I'm about to listen.
Norvell. Yeah, he said
I
he
like
was.
Norvell, man. I've interacted with him a couple times. He's a good dude. But yeah, I like Norvell, man. He's a good recruiter.
yeah, he is.
Not lie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
shit.
he's a good recruiter. Good recruiter.
Oh, there's no doubt, man. That was
He was
Florida.
close on your list, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was number 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, like
He was pretty close on y'all's list too, wasn't he, Bo?
He was top 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to my guy, Coach Shannon, Randy Shannon.
Randy Shannon. That's a Miami cat.
Yeah, Miami, Florida State.
Well, he went to Miami as well. So
Yeah, well, I think he was the head coach there for a hot second.
He was.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's
man.
my guy.
Yeah, we had a great visit at Florida State, man.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie, man. When we showed up, man, we walked in, greeted everybody, and they took us straight out to the stadium, and they had that war chant playing.
Woo!
Bro, that shit was dope.
Hold up. What game did you go to?
We didn't go to a game. That's the point.
Oh, okay.
We didn't go to a game because we went in June. You know what I mean? We went in June.
Dude, I'm gonna tell you.
They wanted to come back, but at that point in time, Mike was trying to be done, committed before football season, and he couldn't. He had a hard time like making up his mind, and it actually kind of went into October. They were trying to get us to come back for the Miami game.
Yeah, I went to the Florida State game.
Yeah,
and it wasn't a seated house, and
yeah,
it's different, man. And the thing about it is, they sit you right beside the band, and they play the whole entire night.
Yeah,
and I was like, it was super impressive. Like I said, man, they had a at the time I thought they had a pretty good staff. They went 13-0 that year, who was being recruited, and I think Norvell just had too many guys he had to replace when he just had that big Porter class, and then that big Porter class left. And I think I think Ole Miss is finna run into the same thing. A lot of people, I'm not hating. I'm not hating on Ole Miss. I got kids that play for me that play up there, but if I'm looking at what happened to Florida State, how heavy they were with that really good team, and then you come back the next year just because you got more transfers, don't mean that transfer is gonna mix just like the one before. And that's what happened with Florida State. It wasn't the coaches. The transfer kids just didn't mix. You had too many of them. I think you just had too many of them that you didn't have no balance within the program. And that's what I say about this portal. You can always go get guys here and there, but a total portal team is going to be a hit or a miss, and you can't miss too many damn times.
No, and I think that it messes with your culture in the locker room because listen, I know that Florida State fans will get pissy about me saying this, and they have before. Their culture was on full display when they didn't get into the CFP and they all bounced and didn't even care about playing in the New Year's Six game. You're going up against the defending back-to-back champions in the Orange Bowl, which was Coach Bowden's favorite damn game, and you don't even have anybody show up for it, and you get boat raced in it. Unbelievable to me. Don't tell me how great your culture is whenever they're running out on you, because it's a team full of, a bunch of portal guys that are.
Well, now, Jason, I'm
just telling you what I feel about it. I'm telling you, I've heard this story. I've heard people.
I want to hear it again.
Hey, no, man.
If you've got a bunch of guys if you got a bunch of dudes that are just mercenaries, which is what they did, then I don't want to hear that shit.
Well, here's the deal too. If I got a kid that's sitting over here that's gonna be a first rounder or a second rounder.
Oh, come on.
Hold on. I ain't know I'll come on nothing. Okay. Billy Bowman and Stessman didn't play in our game. So what's the fucking difference?
The same thing as the New Year's Six game against the defending champs.
It don't make a difference. It's a bowl game. It wasn't for the national champ.
Yes,
no,
it
doesn't. No,
yes,
it doesn't.
Come on,
it doesn't. To you, it does. But maybe not to them.
You're going to tell me that they're not going to get a better look against a team from Georgia that's just won the back-to-back champions, and they
it don't make a difference. It don't make a difference.
It does make a difference.
You already got.
How do you perform against the best in the country?
They're not the best in the country. They just didn't make the playoff.
They lost one game and could have easily made the playoff.
They lost more than one game to get out.
They lost one game. They lost one game in 30 in that stretch.
Well,
1 in 30. Just the game to Alabama. And they didn't have everybody decide not to play in it. They didn't have everybody decide not to play in it.
Here's the deal. You don't have a damn agent sitting there talking to you or telling you this is your money, this, that, and the other. Now, everybody's personal decision ain't the same.
When it came to Billy but you're talking about you cannot compare it to Billy and Stutz. You can't.
Why you can't?
Because
it's another game that's on the book.
Why? Because we said that it would be better for them to go and go over and do the
so why wouldn't it be better for Benson to go head on and get ready for the NFL?
Who?
The running back Benson. The running back Benson that was at Florida State. Why didn't the same thing apply?
If you can go have a good game against that defense at Georgia, you don't. It's going to raise your draft stock. You can tell me it's not?
In one game.
Oh, come on, man.
One game. It's one game.
Okay, it's one game. It's one game that they didn't have a game like that all year.
It don't matter. It's one game. If they're sitting up there telling you this is going to happen regardless.
Did he get into the first round?
He went. His projection is still where it was. He's first or second round pick.
So you're going to tell me if he goes out and has a nice game against Georgia that maybe
he still would have been right where he was. It wouldn't have made no difference.
Well, then why are you saying that it?
So he
should help him to not play. Then why did they help him to not play?
Well, how did it help him to play? It wouldn't help him to play either.
If he goes and has a good game against the best defense in the country, it wouldn't help him.
the best defense in the country saw their ass on the outside.
The best defense in the country had lost one game in 30.
I don't give a shit. They lost the damn game that didn't get their ass
All I'm
in.
telling you is, hey, I'm just
They
telling you what
lost.
I said.
They
I'll
lost the
stand by what I
game.
said.
It
I'll
did not
stand
get
by what I
their ass
said.
in.
It was a
And
team
I'm
of
gonna say,
mercenaries. It was a team of mercenaries.
yes, I
And they
agree with
mercenaried
that.
their asses right out.
I agree with
That's
that.
not the culture that's going to go win a natty. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you. I'm not sitting up there saying
Why
that.
you? What do you
I
mean?
agree with you. I agree with you that, but I'm just saying everybody on that team situation was different.
I don't necessarily always have a problem with it, but when everybody across the team decided, and fuck all that, we ain't gonna play.
Well, they might have been said giving a big FU to the damn people. Say, you know what? If we don't play, there's not gonna be as many tickets sold. So y'all didn't let us in. Screw you, damn committee.
You
Hey,
enjoying this? Are you?
Oh man,
It's usually you and me that are doing
dude,
it.
this was everything, bro. I listen, man. I could have interjected it in day. Listen, man. I just watched that.
hey, it is what it is,
Ah,
man.
that was great, man. That
Hey,
shit warmed my heart, man.
oh man, you know
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
hey, I'm a union man. I was a union man for 30 years, bro. I'm always gonna take up for the guys, bro. That's just me.
I'm not even saying. I was going at the Florida State coaching staff and what kind of culture they built there. I'm not a big Norvell guy or that program. I think they did not do themselves a
Well,
good. I don't think
they
that they
did
did a
it. They
good
had
thing for their
here's
program. And I
here's
think
the
it was
deal,
proven. It was proven out last year when they went 2-10.
dude. They had an emergency situation. In an emergency situation, his ass had to go get some damn players, and that's what happened. He went and
Okay.
got the players. He went and got the damn extension.
1
Now
year
he
is
get
one
ready to
thing. 1 year is one thing.
right. I mean, he had that.
He did that the year before is whenever that all started. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it had to trickle down into them playing. But I get what you're saying. But he was on the damn hot seat. You know, hey, look, this
I
damn portal
understand that,
thing.
but then he doubled down on it the next year instead of
Because if you, hey,
there has to be a balance to this shit. We know we've talked about it.
I've said that 1,000 times. Everybody knows that. But here's the deal: if the shit worked one, god damn it, I'm gonna try it again.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, all I'm saying is
Look
we
at
know
Boganowski.
Boganowski loved it. All I know is they weren't going to win the Natty if they couldn't even keep their shit and team together. You know, it didn't take much to break them all apart. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was more pissed at the bowl committee than it was anything. I think they were more pissed at the bowl committee, and from what I heard, because a couple kids from Mississippi was on that team, they were pissed at the bowl committee and were like, "Screw y'all."
The bowl committee was tripping, bro. Like
And
I
thing about it is,
hate that.
That the bowl
I
committee
hated
was
that
correct in that.
subjectivity and stuff. Like I hated that, dude. I did not like that.
and here's the thing. I think that from what I'm hearing, from what I heard, it's like, man, I'm not finna go sell tickets and make these songs on a bunch of money. When everybody find out we're not playing, the ticket sales going to go down. There's not going to be as many people in the stand, which I don't know if any of that happened, but that was the mindset with them. They were like,
Hey,
screw y'all.
the
Y'all don't
college
want to put us
football
in the game,
committee,
screw y'all.
the college football playoff committee was tripping that year, bro.
They screwed that thing up to me.
They was tripping, bro. Like you took a team that lost in the SEC championship, bumped them all the way to like 7 or 8,
and call your team trash. That's what they are, trash.
And then that's the same year TCU lost in the Big 12 championship.
Oh yeah,
without that quarterback, they weren't winning shit.
But that's what I'm saying though. But like, where is that in like the description of like a team making it or not making it? You know what I mean? I thought it was just based off record. You know what I mean? The subjectivity and the what ifs, like that never really was like a part of the equation for me. So to see them do that, I was just like, oh man, that's jacked up. That's
I would
Jack.
say it was the right thing that they did get screwed over a bit, but in the end, did you want to watch that a year after watching TCU get completely blown out in the final? They were looking at, and it was in the laws, in the rankings, in the laws. And look, what did they do last year? They overcorrected and put a bunch of shit teams in there that didn't belong, and look what it did to the playoff. I think that they did the right thing. In the end, it sucks that they did it, but they did the right thing.
Nah, I don't think.
And they just went back and corrected it last year. And what did it do? It got a bunch of shitty games.
Dude, all they got to do is give me a call.
Boise State and SMU ended up in it.
Playoff committee. All they got to do is just give me a call, and I can help solve their problems. It's that simple, bro.
How so? How so?
Bro, we've talked about this ad nauseum. You can't even seed the motherfucker right. Like, first of all, let's seed it correctly. Let's get the correct teams. Let's get the correct teams.
Yeah, let's make sure that we don't give
dude,
Boise State a fucking bye.
No, it's not. Listen, man, I'm not even worried about the bye.
Don't put SMU in the motherfucker, period.
Let's not make it look like we're showing preference to a college football team, right? Let's seed it how it's seeded. Yeah. And then, like I said, dude, I'm playing in basketball tournaments in the middle of nowhere, Kansas, that are getting managed better than that.
Seeded like shit. There's no
terrible. This shit was terrible. Terrible. How Chuck said, terrible.
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 Hey, but I can tell you this, man. It need to be seeded just like the basketball and everybody else. You know, conference champions shouldn't get a bye. They shouldn't get a bye. I mean, you go strength the schedule and all that kind of good stuff, man. It's always a different way than what they did. You go to strength of schedule, or however they fall in the poll rankings or whatever. That would have been different than what they did with this college playoff system last year. I mean, it's got to be a big change, and from what I'm understanding, they're not going to change it. They met last week and didn't change it.
I just heard somebody talking about it this morning. That it might expand.
Well, the expansion is coming next year.
But I'm talking about
the expansion is coming next year. What they're trying to do now.
With the expansion, they're going to seed it without like freaking.
They're trying to change the seeding. Yeah. They're trying to change the seeding for this season.
Yeah.
Which would have to happen. But see, in order to do that, you have to get. I mean, this is a whole nother conversation. But in order to do that, you're going to have to get all the other conferences are going to have to agree to it. And they have no reason to do so if you're the Big 12. Because right now, if you are the Big 12, you're the ACC, and the ACC didn't get one of those deals because of Clemson being a 3-loss. But more times than not, at the way that they have it set now, you're going to get a bye, which automatically makes you an extra $10 million. It's extra money for you. So there's really no reason for the Big 12 to say, yeah, we'll let you seed it after you get them in there, instead of giving again. There shouldn't be the automatic buys. The automatic bye weeks is what it's getting at. Auto seeding is bad because it gives buys to teams that shouldn't necessarily get a bye.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, and I just think that in the end, you could just put the teams that, if you want to give them automatic bursts into it, automatic berth into the playoff, fine. But then you should seed them once they're in there.
Yeah, exactly. That's ought to be a damn low seed. It's just like we was talking on the phone, talking about UNLV, how Boise slipped in with Dan Mullen being up there and some of the guys he bringing in. You could have a damn UNLV in the damn thing. If they beat Boise State last year, they're in, right, Jason? And Ain't that right? So, man, yeah, I think it needs to be.
Boise got the bye, and then, I mean, that was the whole weird thing about Penn State gets SMU to start off with in the thing. And, I mean, they lost the Big Ten championship game, and they ended up with an easier road than the team they lost to in the championship game.
Mm-hmm.
Oregon gets to their first game, they get Ohio State. You know what I mean? And even, let's say Ohio State doesn't beat Tennessee, Tennessee was a damn sight better than SMU or Boise.
Yeah.
You know, it was insanity that they did that.
Shit show. 2 words.
Oh yeah, it
Shit
definitely
show.
was
Yeah,
that.
no doubt. And I'm not even saying that. Look, I think that it's easy to agree that FSU got screwed over. Right? You know, it wasn't fair the way it went down because according to you win your conference, you're undefeated, whatever.
The reason people had a problem with the FSU thing getting screwed over is because it's never happened before. Nobody's ever come out and said, "You don't have a quarterback, you ain't shit."
Even though they could.
Nobody wants to watch it. That's basically what they said. That's what
they sidestepped that landmine a few times is what happened though.
But this is the first time they came out and said it.
Sure.
Like said it. Like, we know y'all ain't shit. Y'all ain't gonna be shit. So go play the New Year's Six game.
Well, and like the Louisville game, Louisville was hurt too, and they barely won. It was just like it wasn't a good showing in that. Look, in the end, do I think that Florida State was winning the Natty? Shit, no, they weren't. But and truth be told, they shouldn't have put TCU in the year before when they lost that game to K-State. K-State should have gone in. If you were going to do that, or you go to somebody else, but it should not have been.
I'm going to give TCU credit though that year. They did bust Michigan's ass.
They did bust Michigan, yeah. They did. Fair enough.
And I don't think anybody was messing with Georgia. You could have put Michigan in there. The same thing has probably happened.
Well, they beat the shit out of them the year before that.
I don't think it mattered, to be honest with you. At the end of the day, nobody was beating Georgia. They were too good.
Right. Well, and like I said, Michigan got the shit beat out of them the year before. They drug them. You know, so it's not like it was a guarantee of anything. But like I said, when you see TCU get to the championship game and get beat by 40, you know, it was over immediately. And, you know, it ran bad numbers for them, and they didn't want to see the shit again. But I think that they sidestepped that landmine more than once in the playoff. It just always tended to work out in favor of they didn't have that problem.
So give me another case, Jason, where they did that. Something like with Florida State.
They did it. All I'm saying, they sidestepped that same landmine. It could have happened to there was other years, remember that
that's what I'm saying.
To the wire where it could have been, and then the right team lost and didn't get in or whatever. They didn't.
You're saying that crisis was they didn't have to do it. Yeah, I got you.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. There was times that I'm just saying they sidestepped that before. It didn't work out in the fact like had Florida State lost to Louisville.
They dodged that
nobody
bullet.
Thinks about it.
I get you. They dodged the bullet. Yeah, they dodged that bullet. I got you.
Also, and Georgia for that matter, Georgia doesn't get beat by Alabama, we don't have this conversation either.
Yeah. Who were the 4 teams that made it that year? So when Georgia got knocked out, it
Washington, Texas, Bama, Michigan, and Texas. Texas had to be in when they had beaten Bama. Remember, that was their big thing. Texas had to be in because
way early in the year too, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. See, I mean, and I would tell you that Texas only had one loss. They were going to put them in.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They should have been in.
The thing was,
Texas had 2 losses.
No, they didn't. There's never been a 2-loss team in the 14 playoff.
Oh, so Oklahoma was the only team they lost to that year.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then,
but they had beaten Bama earlier in the year, and when Bama wasn't who they were,
beat Bama at Bama.
The table, beats Georgia, and because they had gotten beaten by Texas, God forbid we cannot leave Texas out.
Yeah.
You know, so even though I think that it is what it is, you can say what you want, but I mean, you could say, did Washington, they were undefeated, so they were going to get in. To be honest, I mean, I think that Georgia was still the best team in the country, and they didn't get in because they lost to Bama. Had Georgia won, what happens to Florida State then?
Oh, they get in.
No, I don't think they'd put them in at all. No, they
wouldn't have.
Nope.
Because it would have been Georgia, Texas, Michigan, Washington. It still was going to be Washington. They were undefeated also.
Yeah, you could. I mean, one would hope
you would have 3 undefeated teams. They're not going to. They would not have put Florida State in over Texas. There's no way they would have.
No,
I think they would have put Florida State in over Washington.
No, they wouldn't.
There's no way. There's no
undefeated
way.
Washington.
Yeah,
undefeated Florida State.
So they would have left Texas in and taken Washington out when they beat Oregon. Nah.
Well, here's the thing. I get what you're saying, but if you want to go back to the commit, you go back. If you go back to it, how many national championship Washington has won? How many has Florida State won?
But Natties?
Yeah,
Washington's won a couple of them.
Washington?
They got one.
I think they got 1 or 2. At least 1. I think 2.
I've seen it. They got it right. Hey, right as you come up, when you go to Montlake, right as you come up out the elevator, you open the door, that joint right there, bro.
Was it during the bowl season?
No.
It was back in the early days. Yeah, it was
the coaches
80s, late 80s, early 90s, something like that.
Okay, I get that. Okay, I ain't talking about in the Stone Age. I'm talking about I'm just talking about when people were alive. Now, you know what I'm saying? So
you was alive.
Coach James, they're a real program though, bro. They're a real program though.
They're legit.
Okay, so
legit program.
Which one you figure? I mean, I'm not saying they're not a real program, but Florida State.
That's more than Oregon's one. I'll just say that shit.
Oh yeah, I ain't worried about Oregon. I'm talking about Florida State, Washington. When you think about football,
are you saying Florida State would like in its current situation where they didn't have a quarterback?
Well,
again,
the thing about it. Hold on.
They weren't going to let them in.
Dude, okay, yeah, they played shitty against Louisville. They won. Here's the deal. Man, give me a couple weeks. I got to get this guy right.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
You know what I'm saying? I got to get this guy right.
They should have been in. But the question is, who do you leave out?
Who are they going to take out, though? They were going to take out Texas?
Here's the deal. I understand.
Probably should have because they had an L.
Yeah.
If you just
you could have 4 undefeated teams.
They were making it too complicated. Like if you just simplify it and look at records and not get all this extraneous bullshit.
Ooh, what would Texas have said if they didn't get in?
Dude, who cares? You lost. But you can't say shit. That's why it's about records. If you have a loss, you can't refute it because you lost. And that's why we made it too complicated.
Well, talking about Georgia.
Bullshit. It's just put it on records, bro. Strength of schedule. Like, what is your record?
You take Florida State 2024, I mean it's 2023, they get in the 2024 playoffs.
Yeah.
They would have.
Yeah.
They would have. They've been undefeated.
Team playoffs.
You put them in. Now everybody's back. You don't know. You get a little bit of time to catch your quarterback up to speed. You don't know.
Yeah, you never know. You never know. But I do like that. Yeah. Old that was the old Will Howard game right there, Neilio.
Once Georgia screwed that up though of getting back into the championship game, that it opened up all those doors for Florida State to get left out. Maybe they don't get left out. Maybe they don't get left out had it not been for Georgia getting beat.
Money too, guys. Money, viewership, money.
Of course.
Get that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I still don't know that they leave out Texas. I still don't know that they leave out Texas.
I say they don't leave out Texas, but they could have left out Washington State if they were looking.
They're not Washington State. Washington was undefeated and had beaten. And you got to remember that Pac-12. They beat them twice. They beat up on everybody over there. They were undefeated, and they were talking about that's the best. They were the best conference in the country that year, according to all the
What happened to it? Shit, it's gone.
He gone.
How in the world you lose?
They weren't going to leave them out. They were not going to leave them out of their last year as a conference. It wasn't happening, bro.
Dude.
It wasn't happening. They were not going to stick Florida State in over them. There's no way.
They should have.
I don't agree. They got to the championship. They beat Texas. They got to the championship game. Second year in a row that they beat Texas in a bowl.
Yeah, whatever.
It took K-State to choke on the A&M in OT in St. Louis for FSU to start a third-string quarterback who never started and win. Yeah. Oh, you're talking about when Tennessee won it, Neilio's saying. So wait, hell, all the way back in 98 when T. Martin won it for the Vols over Florida State, it took K-State to choke on that A&M such and such in OT in St. Louis, and for FSU to start a third-string quarterback who never started to win. For Tennessee to win. Okay, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that was back in the Bobby Bowden days. It's not the same thing. It's not what we're talking about.
Was that 98?
Yeah. Bobby's that was during in the prime of his career, by the way. They were at the best. They were at their best around that time.
To my Florida State in 98?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good in 98.
No, I'm saying during that era, that was the end of Bobby Bowden's. Like that was when his teams at Florida State were at their best.
Yeah.
Was during that time. That
Peter Warwick and all those guys.
Oh yeah, Peter Warwick and Charlie Ward and all them motherfuckers. They were fucking good, man.
Did y'all see that highlight video I posted of Peter Warwick?
Peter Warwick was a bad dude, man. Bad dude, bro.
That song. Hey, dude, he's one of the first receivers that I saw that put his foot in the ground and make your ass.
That's what I said. That's exactly what I said. I'm like, he's one of the first dudes. Is like, how is he doing that? Like, where do they get these dudes at? Like his start-stop was different.
Yep.
That dude, he'd be running full speed, stick his foot in the ground, and go lateral. You know what I mean? Like just
he was a bad dude, bro. There's no two ways around. Peter Warwick was a different cat. Different cat.
Yeah, I was expecting him to really do well in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know.
Did he get hurt? Or didn't he start getting hurt a lot once he got to the league?
I don't remember.
I have, man, but he was a dude.
He was definitely a dude. Yeah. I don't know. I don't remember exactly what happened to him, but I know. Well, and then Winky, that was their. Yeah, they had it not been for Winky going down, I think you're probably right. They win that year, but then in 2000, Oklahoma put their foot on their neck. It was 13-2 was a championship game. 13-2. They didn't put up anything. We gave them 2 points. That was a smart move by Stoops. They weren't going to, he went ahead and took the 2, so that way they'd have to start at the, guaranteed at the other end of the field. They weren't going to kick to his ass. That's what that was. They weren't going to kick on that damn punt return.
Oh yeah,
free kick, shit, whatever.
Tell you what,
that was an unbelievable defense at Oklahoma.
Well, let me ask you this right here. If that was a Bobby Bowden team, even with that quarterback going down, do they leave Bobby Bowden out of the playoff?
Well, they didn't.
Well, I'm just saying, if that team was a Bobby Bowden team,
if
Bobby Bowden was coaching that team, Bobby Bowden is they would not go.
They had to play really bad for Tennessee to beat them. I'll tell you that much.
Nah, but what I'm saying is, I'm saying that 2023 team, if that was a Bobby Bowden team, do you think the playoff would
probably not? Probably not.
Left him out?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it depends. It depends on how it ended up working out. I'm saying that's what we were talking about. They sidestepped a lot of landmines throughout the playoff era, right? The playoff era changed a lot of things, but they sidestepped having that controversy a bunch of times. It just happened on this year that it worked out that way because, I mean, there would have been some controversy about whether or not they were good enough, and Texas would have been screaming about that they got fucked if they got fucked out of it. But had they have done it, you would have had less people pissing and moaning about it, aside from in Austin.
Man, the brand wasn't big enough, bro. If the brand was big enough, being 13-0, even if they lost the quarterback, their ass would have been in it. The brand wasn't big enough.
Yeah. Well, I think that in the end, Georgia being undefeated, you wouldn't have had to worry about Texas and having that win over Alabama because Alabama didn't win the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
If Georgia wins that game, which they should have won that game, they should have, and they didn't. In fact, they gagged it up. It wasn't a great performance by Alabama. It was a shit performance by UGA.
Mm-hmm.
And so, had they not have done that, then you have no reason that you have to put Texas in anymore. And that undefeated team, probably you have 4 undefeated teams in at that point. They weren't going to kick Washington. They weren't kicking Washington.
I just think the brand
with Michael Penix, with that offense and the way that Michael Penix had played, they were saying he should have had the Heisman, all that other shit. There's no way that they were going to keep them out. They could have kept out Texas with 1 loss.
But what you think about it, Bo? You think if there had been a Bobby Bowden team, with Bobby Bowden name attached to that team?
I probably don't. I probably think they make the same decision because it sounds like it wasn't coach related. And Brad, it just sounds like you don't have a quarterback and y'all ain't gonna do shit. So
the fact of the matter, TCU losing that game, they may have fucked them either way. They might have.
Well, I just think if it was a big enough coaching, I think if the brand had been big enough on the revenue
what
side.
What they weren't going to do was leave the SEC out, though. That's the point. Beyond all other measures, they were not going to leave the SEC out of the fucking playoffs.
No. I'm not saying leave the SEC out. I'm just saying I just feel like in this day of where we are in football, when it comes down to the money side, if they thought they were going to make X millions more by putting Florida State in, their ass would have been in over Washington.
Bro, hold on. I'm just looking at the shit you posted the other day, earlier this morning. Them jokers did not let Hakeem Olajuwon out on the court.
Hey,
some security guards after Houston won that game and advanced the championship. Hakeem was trying to walk out there.
He was trying to get on the floor, and some fucking asshole wouldn't let him out there. It's the dream, bro. What are you doing?
God, man, that's ridiculous.
He's only UH's GOAT.
Oh yeah, dude.
They wouldn't let him on the court.
He's looking around like, what the fuck is going on?
I gotta go check that out. I ain't seen that,
God, dude. That's wild.
I saw that. I was like, "Are you got to be shitting me, man? No way they did that to Dream."
Some idiot did not know who he was,
dude.
He could have given him the Maxi effect, bro, and fucking got his ass. You know what I mean? Hey, Maxi,
that's not professional.
Cut that shit out.
Oh my God, that's crazy, bro.
No damn Dream. I'm tired of your motherfucking ass too.
Wow.
He should have popped him like he did Max. Just walked on out there. Fuck it. Nobody would have blamed him for it. Nobody else would have. I bet any other guard there would have known who the fuck he was.
He's bad.
Oh, man. I can't believe that cat didn't fuck. He was like, nope.
Say it with your chest.
Say it with your chest, bro.
You're not there.
He should have knocked that motherfucker out, just like he did. And nobody else would have done shit to him. They would have done shit to Dream over that.
Oh, man, what? He should have knocked his ass smooth.
That's not professional.
That shit is probably, that shit blew the damn internet up, man. That damn Mad Max, man. And the thing about it here was so crazy. I used to, I was a Olajuwon fan.
Yeah.
And so you had to see crazy ass Mad Max, man. I was like, man, this dude.
Dude, he was on a podcast the other day telling some wild stories.
Oh, he's been on
Maxwell.
Yeah, he's been on
everywhere now, man.
All the Smoke podcast that he did with those dudes.
Yeah, he's gonna be on
the fuck up. They said that was their best, their most watched podcast they've ever done was with.
He's gonna be a regular on there now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he announced that the other day. In the next season, whenever they start up, he's gonna be a regular on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like,
this is one of the few times I'm rooting for Florida to win. Here in South Texas, everyone is magically a Houston fan. Fuck them. Hey, fuck Florida. First off, and Sampson's the coach at UH, bro. We gotta go with the Hollis is on that coaching staff. Come on, bro. I'm disappointed in you, Ryman. Fuck's wrong with you?
Wow. Yeah, man.
You are trash.
Hey, where you think you get that from? Look at Bobo like, what the hell?
I busted Ryman's chops. He's been busting my balls for like a week, easy.
Wow.
So he had it coming.
Hey, Ryman be on Twitter going super hard.
He does. He's been busting my chops, but he also he went at old Brandon Walker pretty hard though too. But hey, man, you got to root for Sampson. Got to root for Kelvin. Kelvin's my guy. Kelvin when he was on OU's campus. Hey, he was a winner, dude. What you mean? They were winning, bro. Come on now.
Yeah, I can tell you.
He fucked up the job. He definitely screwed it up. But anyway,
like I say, everybody needs a second chance. Look at him now. You know,
he had a third. Yeah, he was. The Indiana job got to be a bit too much for him, I guess. It's not the same job that it once was.
No, it's Indiana is a basketball school, but it's not a basketball. You don't have that tradition. Not with Bob.
It ain't Bob Knight's Indiana for sure.
No,
Coach Knight was the man.
Slinging chairs across the doggone room.
Yeah. Hey man, he was still rowdier and shit whenever I was covering him at Tech, man. That son of a bitch was mean.
Yeah.
But he liked me. I got along with him pretty well. Yeah. Because I didn't put up with his shit. Him yelling at me didn't really bother me. So I was just like, I would laugh about it most of the time.
Yep. Old Bob Knight. You can't, those coaches are not around anymore. You can't coach like that anymore. Oh no! Now with paid players and all that kind of stuff. I mean, and you've seen a lot.
Wasn't really working by the time he left Tech.
Yeah, so you look at me and Passion talk about Pat Summit, and I asked her, would it be difficult for Pat to coach right now? She said, definitely.
Yeah.
It would be tough for the way she coached and how she did things. And
you think so?
Yeah, I know so.
She was rough. She's she's even on another level than like Don Staley's rough on him.
Yeah,
not,
Pat,
right?
Not like that. Nah. And like I said, Pat was a bulldog. I mean, she was a bulldog. She was going to get everything out of your ass. You know, she was completely old.
She never let off that neck. The hell no.
Nah, I mean, Pat was telling us it was a game that wasn't televised, and they were playing. They were up, but she came in the locker room and told them pretty much, y'all playing like shit, and walked out. They went back out on the court. Instead of her sitting down beside her, I think she sat like right behind them. And Passionate went up by 30-some points. And she was like, well, I knew y'all could do it. She had her own way of motivating that might not be conducive to now.
Yeah, for sure.
She knew what busting.
Kids are, man, they're certainly not able to handle the same.
Nah.
The way that I mean, shit, I got motherfucked as, when we were playing in high school, they're like, hey, they're motherfucking you on the field and on the court and everywhere. I mean, we had coaches that were that way.
Mm-hmm.
Your parents didn't even care.
No, because you pay for your education.
You know what I mean? Suck it up.
I remember Coach Cook coming up and this dude, we call him Chick. He put his finger in Chick's face. He said, I will F you up. Chick looked at him, and these are different kids now. Chick looked at him and said, Coach, I wouldn't make that move if I was you. And Coach Cook just looked at him, and they stared at each other in the eyes and said, you know what? I like this kid. I mean, he was just busting his balls. Nowadays, man, you get some of these kids, man, where you on my face? And, It's just a different damn generation, man. Not saying all kids are like that, but just a different generation. And Nick Saban got his ass out because his era was gone. And
Mhm.
I think, you know, if I want to look at a person who has changed and been able to deal with it, although my wife, she would probably go crazy just hear me say this, but Gino has adapted. And he's an old school coach, but he has adapted to what's going on in this modern era. So it's just not many could do it. And I think Saban was one of those guys. With just, I think he could still be coaching right now. I don't think he has the stomach to deal with all the stuff you have to deal with right now. You see what I'm saying? Now let me ask you this, Jason. What if they had Alabama say, "Hey, look, Nick, we're gonna go hire you a general manager at that time because didn't nobody really have him, but when he left, we're gonna hire you a general manager to take care of all this recruiting stuff, all this other stuff. We're gonna have a general manager take care of that stuff for you." Do you think he would still be at Alabama now? Because he
Uh,
kind of left. He kind of left before the general manager thing became a real thing.
who did?
Nick Saban did.
Yeah. 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 They
He kind of left a little bit early. The general manager thing wasn't what the general manager job is right now when he left. You just had somebody kind of overseeing NIL, but now it's a job that handles everything. And what Nick say, hey, I want to be a little bit more hands on. But I think if they had hired somebody, say, hey, look, all this recruiting stuff and this money stuff, don't worry about it. We got it. You just coach and you go get the kids. You tell us who you want and let us deal with that. You don't want to know how much they making? Let us deal with that. You think if that had been the case, you think he still would be coaching now? You think he was done regardless?
I think he was done because of the money situation and the fact that he couldn't stack and do what the best thing about what Saban was doing.
Say it.
Yeah, what Saban was doing was getting away with all that shit.
Get away
He
with
was
yeah,
he
yeah.
his the best thing about what he was that
He could
he
harbor.
could he could pay the kids and not get caught and stack them. Once that shit made it took away his advantage.
Yeah, it leveled the playing field on his ass,
Yeah.
bro. Yeah. I mean, you can sit up here and they'll tell you, I don't know about this. I had nothing to do with that and all that. Man, that's bullshit. You know,
Yep.
you know. You
Yeah,
tell if you tell that if you tell
all
that
they care about is getting paid. That story about Miss Terry saying, "Well, why are we even here? All they want is money." Come on,
he
bro. Come
he
on,
he,
bro. Give me
he,
a
he
break.
here's the deal. Look at this. Nick say, I need that defensive tackle. I need that tight end. I need that linebacker.
He
He
had the
tell that
money
to
for
one.
it. They paid him. They paid him.
That's right.
Bro.
He back in the day under the table stuff. You made that
He's the one who
statement.
got away with the shit, right?
Right.
Come
Alabama
on.
started it, man. With Bear Bryant, they started it.
Hey man,
But
they were doing it. Yes, they were doing it
they
with
started it.
Stallings. Didn't they get in a bunch of trouble before all that shit?
Oh yeah, my my classmate, one of my teammates, he had a kid. He was the one that took the 200,000. The coach that got in trouble for taking the 200,000 that was taking care of the defensive tackle. But what did nobody, you know, I know it was illegal, but dude, the woman had 7 kids. He had to buy a vehicle, house, and take care of them 7 kids off of that $200,000.
Yeah. Hey, Alfaru, you can disagree, but it has leveled the playing field to an extent. It's about to change again whenever all this stuff goes through. But you can't stack 4 deep anymore, 4 years worth of guys that are going to sit there and fucking wait.
You lucky if you get 3.
You're
You
not gonna get
damn
20
lucky.
years worth of guys that are gonna sit there and fucking wait. It ain't happening.
No, but what I'm saying, I'm saying
And it
the
took away
1, 2,
his
and
it
3.
did take away his advantage of being able to he was the guy that could pay those dudes to not get caught.
Yep.
The way that he had it set up just right. It worked for him at LSU. It worked for him at Bama too.
Yeah, you gotta have the right boosters in there doing
That's
the right
right.
things.
Come on now.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is. But you mean, yeah, the game caught up with him. You know, Kirby was better at his game than he was at his game.
He
And
can
I
take
think
your
that
guy in today's environment. Yeah, but they can take his too. The point is he didn't like it that he no longer had. Think about it.
control.
What did they do the last few years? He got to that. He lost to a Michigan team that, I mean, they won undefeated. I don't think that they were the best team in the country.
Yeah, I do. I think they proved it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
it
they'd
was.
have played Georgia, I don't know that. I think Georgia was only going to lose to Alabama
I mean, but if you're the best team in
for
the country,
whatever reason.
don't
For
look.
whatever reason. Well, but he had Kirby's number, bro. That's why.
Well,
Kirby won one game against him, man. One out of like 7.
yeah, that's true. I mean, I get it. I see what you're saying. I definitely get it. But
I think Georgia was and maybe I'm wrong. They could have lost that game too. We'll see. But I mean, I didn't think Alabama, again, they couldn't throw the ball. And they still, if it hadn't been for that stupid skipped fucking snap, they probably win that game too in the Rose Bowl. It was a bad snap.
Bad snap.
Terrible snap.
Yeah. I heard they were getting death threats and everything from
Yeah,
Alabama.
that's why I went to Ohio State and won a natty last year.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Look, I'm telling you, if you drive from where I live over to Tuscaloosa, it's about an hour and maybe 40 minutes, maybe that. Bro, you go through some backwoods and you'll see some Alabama flags on a doggone trailer that's barely standing up. And they have a brand new Alabama flag. And those will be the ones that's gonna threaten your ass. They'll go down to the damn country store to get on the damn internet and blow you.
I don't give a shit about nothing but the Tide.
I don't give a piss about
Hey,
that.
who is that dude? Who is
Willie?
that?
Willie?
Willie.
Yeah, that doggone Willie crazy as hell, man.
What was that dude's name?
Willie?
Oh, yeah, that's hilarious.
Oh, Willie.
I don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide.
You know, Willie a little he a little off a little bit.
Yeah, you think? On cross-eyed and shit, drunker than fuck all day long.
Hey,
That
so
dude drinking like rubbing alcohol.
man, so that's kind of how they got on the internet, man.
Yeah.
He was tasting these different beers and stuff, and he is a logger, and Willie would be out there with no damn shoes on, man. I'm talking about caveman, bro. Caveman to getting it, man. And he
I
made
saw a
this
video of him busting his ass last night. It was on one of those short videos. I don't forget what it was, but he busted his ass.
Tell you what, he has made some money off, that little slogan. And dude, they got they wearing t-shirts. I don't care nothing about the Tide. I don't give a piss about nothing.
Oh, he's making money. They're making money like a motherfucker now.
Yeah. Hey, look, he might be a little challenging one way, but he making them more money.
Hey, well, I was fixing to say where he busted his ass, it was like a mansion. It was a nice backyard with a big ass step. That's what he fell down.
He probably was drunk, man.
He was, well, yeah, of course.
Man, shoot.
It's around on that clear, bro.
Man, yeah. Back in those woods where he's at, yes, sir. They drinking that cat daddy.
That shine.
That cat daddy, man.
That
cat
daddy.
daddy. Yes,
What's
sir.
cat daddy? Is that the same thing? Moonshine?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Drinking that Joe.
That cat daddy, he says. The cat daddy. That's a new one. It's a new one for me.
Drinking that cat daddy, man.
Great.
Look, I know a couple places. What kind you want? You want apple? You want um, cinnamon? You want peppermint? See whatever flavor you got. They got 31 flavors down there. Just tell them what you want down there. It's Shannon,
Oh,
Miss
bro, it's a good. Hey,
that cat daddy, baby.
hey, man, we've had a lot of views on this channel, and we got 34 likes. We got 63 people on my site, and we got 34 likes. Are you guys kidding me? Are y'all not having fun today? We've been talking shit the whole day, and y'all can't hit the like button.
Man,
All right,
crazy.
we're going early anyways. I got to get out of here. I got shit to do. But since y'all can't hit the damn like button, we're leaving early now. That's it. That's how it's going to be. I'm tired of this. Tired of it.
Wait,
because tell everybody how to find you, man.
Hey, man, we're waiting. We're waiting. Everybody's just waiting for the show, man.
The show's been going on for 2.5 hours now.
No, not this show. We're talking about the clapback to YouTube. That's what we're all waiting for, bro.
The clapback to YouTube?
Yeah.
What?
You know the why your views and your channel expansion ain't doing what it's supposed to do.
It's doing better than it has. It's been doing better than it has been.
Why it don't show up? Why can't I see
not
it?
showing up for you?
No,
it shows up for me.
Nope.
We've definitely been getting more views than we were the month before that, but I'm gonna have to go through my stuff again. But I'll definitely take a look and see again. But I think we're doing better.
Oh yeah, man.
Somewhat better. I have to look at I know for sure we've gotten more views, but I don't know that we've gotten more platformed time.
Yeah.
We may not be.
But I can tell you this, man. Bro. You over there in them Twitter streets.
Bro, I be liking
Twitter, man.
Man, it's crazy. I can't even get it. Yeah, this is wild, bro.
It's still not there. It's still not there.
It's crazy to me, man.
Wild to me too. Now you're gonna get me pissed off before I leave.
You should be pissed off, bro. I can't be more like what Marcus Dent say earlier. He's like, I can't want it more than your son. Listen, man, I can't want you to get your views more than you do. All right.
Hey, I believe me. Nobody wants it more than I want it. Promise me that. I promise you that. I'm telling you that what I've seen on the analytics tells me I've been getting more views. You haven't told me until today, bro, that you weren't seeing.
Listen, let me tell you something, Jason.
What kind of phone you got, man?
If the shit changes, Jason, you will be the first one to know.
Okay.
I've been on that type of time since I told you about it.
I
even told you the same shit happens to my mom. My mom went through the whole gauntlet of the same shit I got to do. I'm like, that's the exact, and I ain't even told her about it. You know what I mean? She hear this right here. And then she's like, I can't even find him on YouTube anymore. I have to go in, type in. She's like, I used to type in HOF and it used to come up. She's like, now that don't even work. I got to type in HOF media for it to come up. And I said, I got to do the same shit.
Okay.
Same shit. When you type in HOF right now, it's all Pro Football Hall of Fame stuff from the NFL.
And you know what? You know what I'm thinking?
And it never used to be like that. Never.
Well, you know what? I thought about that too. Somebody else from the Pro Football Hall of Fame stuff probably say, hold on, wait a minute. Why is this coming up? And they probably did a little protest.
No. It ain't about the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And they weren't.
No. They don't own that fucking the HOF shit. They don't own it.
Yeah.
It's a college football channel. Fuck them. It ain't got nothing to do with that. It ain't got nothing to do with that. I guarantee it. It's YouTube doing it.
Oh yeah,
it's YouTube doing it.
Yeah, they might see you on here, Mike. They might be messing with you.
I mean,
I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna go in and look at the analytics right now. But I'm damn sure gonna get off of here because nobody's hitting the fucking like button to help us with that shit. As it is, we've got all these people on here. And only half the people that are watching the show right now even bother to hit the like. It's not right for it's not.
Y'all hit that like button, man, and help my boy Jason out. And look, if any of y'all on Twitter, y'all hit me up on Twitter. I'm on Twitter all the time.
He in them streets.
We've had 500, almost 600 views now, and we've got 38 likes. That's bullshit. Fucking bullshit, bro. Yeah. Not doing it no more. I'm gonna start cutting it off every time I notice it. I'm gonna start cutting the show. That's it. Fuck out of here. No. Not doing it no more.
Adios, amigos.
We'll see y'all on the next one.